All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Friday in trading. I didn't have any trades yesterday, so that's why you only got the scanner video. Today's kind of an interesting day because I didn't get much all morning long. Got two smaller trades, missed a really nice one on GTEC. If you guys were watching that, or if you had the scanner, it alerted up at like 1080, and then it flushed all the way below 9 into a halt. It was an insane move, but I missed that one. But today's a pretty good video because it's one of the things I'm starting to work on, which is lower price stocks making pair moves. I want to start hawk smashing a little bit more, getting my shares up to get my profit availability up on those really high quality setup, high probability moves. So we're going to see one of those today. Even though it didn't go perfect, it does come out decent in the end. Let's trade. Alright, so the first trade of the day here today was on Twitter. I had sat around. You can see it's already 10:30 at this point, so it's an hour into the market, and I haven't taken any trades yet. Twitter was on the scanner, but it was only at like an 8. But I just took a quick one here right at 50, thinking we'd get a little bit of a rejection off of that big half hundred, big whole dollar number. I figured there would be a good amount of sellers, both short sellers and people selling their position after this nice move from down in the 48.50s. And I wasn't looking for much here. I was just willing to take 30 cents on the move back down. I only had 100 shares, so only looking for $30 on it. It's not really an alert when it's only at an 8 there on the scanner, so I was just looking for a move quickly off of that 50. So put the limit order out there to buy the 100 shares back at 48.70, just looking for a quick rejection off of the $50 whole number. It starts looking pretty good. It's coming back down. The fill there at 48.70 is above both highs of the two previous candles, so I'm really not thinking it's going to have any problems getting down there and filling it. And we'll see what it does here in just a second. I'm still working on how to do these new type of videos, but it's coming down here 70, 71, 72, and it's gonna get me filled here at 70 right there. And that actually ends up being the low of that pullback, so ended up getting that pullback a perfect bottom tick, which is mostly just luck, but it was just a small trade looking for a quick $30 there, just looking to get myself into the trading game this morning. Then we had ONEM. This one we had actually traded short recently earlier in the week. Today it started making a big move to the downside. You can see it starting to hit into the 20s there on the scanner, and it really starts to make that quick, fast move, which is what I'm looking for, getting up to a 30 there. So I get my entry at 43.86, 100 shares long, looking for a nice bounce out of this. Obviously, I'm willing to add if it wants to make another quick flush to the downside, only in 100 shares so far. And it actually does start to make that quicker flush to the downside, but for some reason my brain wasn't working fast enough. So we'll see here in a second. There was a perfect add position, and it was a combination of brain not working fast enough and trying to get a little too perfect with the second entry. And anytime I try and get too perfect, I end up just missing it, which is what's going to happen here. So you see there is a nice flush through 43 to the downside, hits like 42.70 or something there on the bid. Ended up not getting a add in there on that nice flush down through 43, and then you can see it starts popping right back up almost through my original entry there. I put an order out trying to front run the $0.50 between 44 and 45, and as we'll see here on the trade, it ends up just kind of chilling and going sideways. Starts putting in these top wiki candles, and I'm starting not to feel great about its chances on the bounce back here. I've waited a little bit. I didn't get that nice add. You can see on that bottoming candle, we'd be in a nice green trade here had I gotten the add in on that bottoming candle, because we'd be above both entries. But as it is, I just end up selling it out, saying basically I quit on this trade for 15 cents, $15. So only taking a small win there, not really even a win, just closing the trade. Then the fun one today, as I said in the intro, I've been looking to try and get a little bit more aggressive on these lower priced ones that I don't think have that potential to just absolutely tear my face off. So I was looking at DCRC here. starts hitting on the scanner. It's only at about a 15, which isn't that huge of a number, but I get an entry there. So maybe the one thing I could have done better on this trade, as we will see, is waiting on the entry. And then I kind of also on this second entry, I wasn't paying good enough attention to my limit, so I ended up getting a lower fill there, only at 1382, which wasn't great because that was only about 20 cents higher than my first entry. So, but I'm starting to build up my share size. I'm only down 230, so I'm feeling quite fine about adding more in here if it wants to continue. And the chart's looking absolutely beautiful for that add. So go to add another 600 here up through the 14, what was it, 1430s, I think, 1440. So get that in there. So I now have 1,800 shares, average of 1404. And I know everybody's going to freak out about the minus 700 or so on the P&L, but I was really feeling good about this chart move, about the potential, looking at the daily chart, what it had done on the days so far. So out to 1,800 shares there, average of 1404. Not feeling too bad about that entry. I was actually ready to go more shares on this one if it wanted to continue, or if it started to kind of top curl there. The plan would have been to add more towards the top with just a tight stop over the rest. So even if I took, a $700-800 loss, that is no big deal for what we're doing these days in the grand scheme of things. So I was feeling pretty good. We start getting the pullback here, and I'm really looking for a nice flush through 14. You can see our average is just over 14 at with 1,800 shares. So I load up a limit at 14 just in case we get a nice flush. And it starts flushing a little bit. I put an order out there to take 1,600 of them just because I didn't like that move through that move through 14. Only got filled 86. So now I'm watching the chart. I cancel that order out because I'm thinking, man, this thing has a potential to flush real nicely through 14 down into the 1370s I was hoping for. So I then reset my limit order, hoping that we're going to get a nice flush through 14 and not just take it there at 14. So we'll see what it does here in just a second. It hangs out at 14. It hangs out at 14. I'm thinking to myself, man, if this thing flushes 14, it could really go in my favor and turn this into a nice winning trade, especially as it's going. But then you can see it gets under 14 and it just stalls there. 1399, 1390, and it's just chilling. It's not making the big flush I was looking for. So at that point, I go ahead and I take 1,000, what is it? I forget how many, 1,600 off. Yeah, 1,600, because it didn't make that big flush I was looking for. But man, had it made that big flush, that would have been the opportunity for a big winner here on DCRC, which is where I'm trying to put myself in position for. And then it's hanging out some more, so I just cover another half off there. I get down to 57 shares, and at that point I'm like, all right, it's only 57 shares after I had 1,800, so I can just let this one sit for a while. I was looking and hoping for this thing to get a nice move eventually down through 1350. And looking at this chart, you can see why I said in the beginning I need to get a little bit better at holding some more shares here when I get into my bigger positions so that I can make more money on these trades. But at the same time, we talked about how I was really looking for that move through 14 earlier on the chart. So it did end up continuing down here. It got down to 1350. It bounced right there off of 1350. So I'm starting to be like, I'll just take another half off here, lock in some more profit, and then we'll look for a spot to put in a stop on the remaining 28 shares. And looking at the chart here, it looks like that just over that 1380 is a pretty good spot on the chart here to put in the stop. So I go ahead, get that stop in at 1381 for that final 28 shares, and now I sit and wait. And it actually pops up right to 1380, and it chills right there at 1380 for a little bit. It actually hits 1380. I don't know if I got it recorded right here or not. It actually hits 1380, and then luckily for me, it rejects it. So looks like we got the stop point right there, and it flushes back down. I'm watching 1340 because I kind of have that $200 P&L mark in my mind, so I have a limit order ready, and then I'm watching the level 2, and you can see the sellers are stacking up against the bid there. So I'm watching the level 2. I don't have it on the screen for you guys anymore, but I'm watching the time and sales, looking for a spot here where it looks like it may turn around. So it goes a little bit further down here. You can see there, hits the 1330s, and then this is where you can't see it, but I started to see some buys come in on the time and sales. You're going to see the bid jump up by a cent here, and that's when I decide it is time to close that trade out. So making $158, getting to over 200 on the day, and that actually ended up being the bottom of that move, at least at the time. I don't know what it was at the end of the day. But guys, that's it for me today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you don't freak out too much at the trades. This was all in the plan today, trying to get more aggressive on those high probability ones where I can get my share size up on the lower price without it ripping my face off. So that was the plan today. Unfortunately, it didn't work out 100%, but did end up making $200 to end the week. So I will happily take that into the weekend. If you guys didn't see it, check out my video on the scanner that just released yesterday, all about the scanner, all kinds of good stuff on there, a bunch of examples, how you can use it, different ways to use it than I use it, and hopefully you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you later.